Welcome to Midlife Women Entrepreneurs, where you'll find real stories, practical strategies, and the mindset shifts you need for entrepreneurship. If you've ever felt like midlife was too late to launch a business, write a book, or chase a dream, think again. I'm Lynette Turner, your host, and I'm bringing you inspiring conversations and practical tips to help nudge you forward and keep growing in midlife. So let's jump in. Well, I have Hilary DeCesare on Midlife Women Entrepreneurs today. Hilary, I'm excited to have you. You and I met through the podcast. When I took a look at who you were and what you've been doing, I thought, oh my God, I need this woman on my podcast for sure. You've got so much to share, specifically about your book, The Relaunch, and your systems. So I'm going to hand the floor over to you. I want you to give yourself a bit of an introduction, and then we'll take it from there.
Lynette, I love being here. And I love everything that you're doing for female entrepreneurs, because we need to be huddling together. We need to energetically be leveling ourselves up. You're going to hear a lot about what is critical, I think, for success. I've been doing this for 25 years. I have been executive level, entrepreneurial level coaching. Did that, was 10 years at high tech giant Silicon Valley, Oracle. And then I had a moment. So can I just share a little bit? And then I think it might resonate with the gals out there that are like, yes,
absolutely. There's always, I believe in midlife, there's always an event that makes us do it. Yeah, for sure. So go for it.
And so it was one of these times I was out on the road for 10 days working. And I was going through a divorce. I had just found out that I had melanoma, and my mom, who ended up getting cancer and passing after 12 months, about 4 or 5 years ago, she was watching my kids, and I drove up the driveway. I clicked on the open garage and it went click, click, click. And I literally saw my life as this garage door. And I'm like, oh my God. First off, I knew it was about to break down. Like, you feel like you're on the brink. And I clutched the steering wheel, and I had this inner voice literally screaming at me saying, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Yeah, outwardly with work and everything, it looked great. Financially, it looked great. But my relationships had suffered. I was not taking care of myself. Clearly, I had melanoma at that point. And I just knew I had to make a change. I just knew I had to do something to relaunch myself, because I was so unhappy. I walked into the house and my mom turned around and looked at me and she said, where did Hilary go? I mean, why is that? She could read me so well. And when she said that, it was like a knife in my heart. And I looked at her and I said, you know what, Mom? I have no idea. And I went upstairs and I peeled off the work clothes that I'd been in all day on planes. And I put on just a comfy t-shirt and my sweats. And I looked in the mirror and it was just like dull. My eyes, I looked at myself, and again, it was that voice. I'm done. I'm done with doing things that don't light me up. I'm done being someone for somebody else. I'm done on this like pathway that was given to me by my parents, by my teachers, by my family members, by my friends, that this is what I should be doing. And I was just like, I'm done. It was this moment of like craziness. I was the crazy lady in the mirror, but there was a calming. There was a calm sense. And so I walked downstairs and I'm like, my mom's like, wow, I don't know what happened, but I like who I see right now. And that was the beginning. That was the beginning of my company. And I actually, not so much the company of Relaunch, because I was still deeply into, I left the corporate job. I got into entrepreneurship. I was going through a divorce and trying to figure out what's next for me, raising these 3 little kids, trying to figure out, as my financial advisor said to me, you can't live this lifestyle. You're going to run out of money. I'm like, everything, the walls were coming in, but I had a sense of peace that I'm like, I got this. So that's where I am, and I started Relaunch because of that.
Yeah, no, and we'll get into Relaunch for sure. But that story is so relatable. I don't even like the fact that you had that moment where you're grabbing the steering wheel and saying, wow, something's got to change. But then somebody to reflect that back on you to say, where is Hilary? And wow, what a wake up call. And I think a lot of midlife women are at that stage. I talk about this all the time on my podcast. You're in midlife, you are definitely going to have an event that changes everything. Yours sounded like it was a little bit earlier than midlife, but at the end of the day, you came about. So what is it that attracted you to really focus on midlife women in your business?
So I'll tell you what was happening. I was attracting women that had had successes that were feeling dull. They were feeling like the fire in their belly was gone. There were no butterflies anymore. It was just like they were doing the grind. They were feeling stuck, overwhelmed, feeling like, is this really all there is? And so these women were coming to me, and it was an interesting conversation because I would sit there and I'd say, well, can I share a little bit about what happened to me? And they're like, yes, yes, yes. And I said, it's kind of like what I call 3HQ, the headquarters of you. We all have it within us, this headquarters. And the 3H's are the head, the heart, and the highest self. And highest self for me is best version of you. When you do have the butterflies, when you do have the spark, when you do have that like sense of this, like, I love my life, right? And they're like, yeah. And most of us have grown up with, we really put things into compartments. In my book, I call it hell in the hallway. When things are not going well, we just kind of put it behind the door. We shut the door. Then we go and there's another door and we put a little bit more. And it could be around business. It could be around professional, personal. And right now there's global relaunches that are happening that are impacting us. It's like the trifecta is going on right now. And as you get older, and I love Brene Brown says midlife is 35 until you're dead. So I think we're all raising our hands. We're all like in there. And something that happened when my mom got cancer and she found out she had stage 4 colon cancer. So what happened during that year is that I saw a shift and she was fighting. Gosh, that woman was a fighter. And I realized, we all are going to have aging parents. We're going to lose our parents at some point, but we never really discuss it until it hits us, until that relaunch happens. And I remember when I held her hand, I had that I was blessed that I was there when she took her last breath. And I held her hand and it was this sense of like the last breath and there was peace. And I thought, wow, life is so short. She's 78 years old. And all of a sudden, I thought like, heck, I'm only halfway through. I'm like, I got a lot of time. And then you realize you really don't. And you have to figure out for yourself, what is your lifestyle of success? What does it look like? What are your core values? And people talk about these all the time, but you don't really know how to genuinely assess yourself to understand what are those, right? Like, what are they? And I realized, and I have a process of like taking people through getting there. But I realized that mine are growth, and that growth of like continuing to grow in so many different areas. I've been an avid studier of neuroscience. I've got a psychology degree. I love looking at the science, but I also realize there's things that we can't explain, universal laws that when you leverage them with that neuroscience, it's like it opens up everything. So when I saw my mom pass and I realized like, wow, how do I get this? My mission is for midlife women. We're the go-to company when you're going to have issues no matter what. And there are people listening right now. I'm not, nothing's happening right now. I'm in a really great place. Amazing. But let's take you even higher. Relaunch, rise. There's always the ability to rise up even higher. Growth is always constantly looking at that next level for you. And then my next value is connection. Connection to me is love. Connection of loving what you do, loving your family, even the ones that are like a little squirrely, loving them, giving them the grace to be like, it's okay that you're so crazy. I still can appreciate who you are. And then my last is this whole idea of la dolce vita. It's like the love of life, the joy of life. Right now, as women in our midlife, we have compromised. We have settled. We have given ourselves to everyone. And the la dolce vita is like sucking us out. It's not there. And so I infuse with 3HQ, head, heart, highest self, I infuse an energy. I literally call myself high vibe Hilary, because what I have realized is the importance of energy within us. Why? I just went to an event yesterday and spoke in front of an amazing group of 150 plus women. And they're like, oh my God, your energy is off the charts. Well, what they don't realize is what's going on behind the surface. What is really going on? I brought my A game, my energetic A game to my presentation. But it doesn't mean that I don't have a lot of other stuff that's dragging me down. I just have figured out that energy attracts
Yeah.
energy and like energy. And so that's really my most like my entire superpower is around helping you rise up to a higher level energy, no matter what's going on in your life, and be able to access what you really want, your goals in your business, your goals in your relationships, and your goals within your personal self. That's what I do.
Amazing. I love the whole frequency, the quantum leaping was all embedded in everything that you said there. Now, okay, so let's go to the listeners, right? So let's say there's a woman right now listening and she's kind of in the middle of her own shakeup. You talked about your 3 or 4 values there and you gave a really good context to those values, which is amazing. How does she, like if she was sitting across from you, how would you help her to even see this starting point? She knows something's not right. She's feeling so relatable to your earlier story. What are you saying to her? How are you getting her started?
So we've all heard about The Secret, the book The Secret. And in The Secret, it's all about law of attraction, right? But when you have a lot of crap hitting you left and right, these relaunches, it's tough to get out of your own way and say, law of attraction, did I attract this? Is this my doing? And so what I want to say is it's not. This is like something that, the outside influences are always going to be a part of life because we are midlife. And great example was yesterday. And I was sitting at a table and I sat down after I shared the same story about the I'm done. And she looked at me and she's like, I cannot tell you how much I resonated, use that word, I resonated with what you said. Well, for many of us, we don't realize that law of attraction nests under the law of resonance. And so if any of you out there are listening and you're like, something inside of me is like, I get what Hilary's saying. That's me. I'm going through this. I want to level up. That is your sign. You have a feeling that you need to act on it. The problem is we tune out when we're given these hits, these intuitive hits. And there are 3 ways that you might be thinking like, hey, yeah, what Hilary's saying is really resonating. Intuition hits you in different ways. And so if any of you had anything that was like, I get it. I don't want to turn off this podcast right now because I want to see where this is going. I want to see where Lynette is going to take this. Absolutely. We're here for a reason. You're here listening to the show for a reason. So what I've done, a lot of times people come in and they're like 3HQ. Okay, wow, Hilary, I get head, heart, high self, but how do you actually simplify it? How can I leverage this right now in my life where I've got health issues, where I've got business issues? My revenue is like a relaunch roller coaster up and down. I keep sabotaging my own success because the way you realize you have is that it's not where you thought you would be at this point in your life. And if all of a sudden you're like, yes, I want to do something different. Here is the easiest way to lean into right now 3HQ, and it's called Tune In. I'm asking you to stop tuning out for the next 5 minutes. And then what's great is that there's a lot of programs, courses, coaches. Oh, I'm going to certify you in this and that. Guess what? I'm certifying you as a master in Tune In right now on the show. Sound good?
Sounds wonderful.
Best way I think I can do it is, Lynette, if you're game, I'll just take you through the 4-step process. So that
Okay. I didn't know we were going in this direction because I had a question already for you.
Well, do you want to ask the question before I take you through it?
Actually, I do, because it's super interesting you're using the term intuitive hit, because that's just something that started to, to resonate in my world lately. And I believe this, where you're going to take me through this process, but it's how do you know when your intuition, whether it's your head, your heart, or your higher self, is actually not being driven from an old belief that you're carrying. So for me, sometimes you get this gut feeling, but is that gut feeling being driven from fear? The intuitive hit, I have those where It literally is almost being spoken to me. I know that might sound a little bit crazy to some of the listeners, but I had a really big one the other day, and it was, you need to do this. And then my body just froze. I just got so heavy. And that's when I know I need to truly listen to myself. But sometimes when I get a different intuition feeling, whether it is from my head, which is the worst because I'm a self-proclaimed self-sabotager, and then, or the gut, which is probably fear. How do you differentiate that?
That is a great question. Here is what I have found from doing this for 25 years. Your intuition, HQ, head, heart, highest self. Highest self is where your wise woman is. That's your guiding light. That's what you just said. I get these hits and then your body freezes. Your intuition will never speak in a negative, saboteur, judging sense. It will never. The second you have a hit that you're like, oh my God, that is like, it feels right. You have it as a sense, a knowing, a feeling, whatever it is. That's when you have to hear it, which is what you heard recently, but listen is a different thing. And what happened to you that your body said something different is it went into fear mode. And what is fear? Fear is something in the future that hasn't even happened, but it's tied to our limiting beliefs. It's tied to the stories we tell. Because I want to make sure you realize your belief system, both the positives and the negatives, are all fueled by your subconscious. Your mind is this incredible place, but what we don't understand, and I want you to really hear this, everyone, that your subconscious has two things that it does for you. It keeps you safe and it keeps you familiar. So when you have an intuitive hit to go do something new, the wise woman is talking to you. And now you're hearing it. You got to listen for a second before your subconscious steps in and says, that's not what we do. Your subconscious doesn't care about being successful. That's not its job. Its job is to keep you safe and familiar. Everything you've done up until this point in your life, let's keep doing it. What we have to do at that point is we have to, and I want to say one thing, your subconscious only changes not through thinking, not through affirmations, but through feeling the affirmations, the affirming what you're going for. And I do a lot of this. This is like, again, I've been studying this for over 15 years. And what we have to be able to do is I have very successful people come in and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't get past the 7-figure, 8-figure. There's a block. I keep having the relaunch roller coaster. I'm successful one month. I'm not successful. And what we find out is they have a limiting belief that is associated with money, with a belief, a story from when they were young. I have a great story about a woman out of the UK. And she had a money story where her parents are like, rich is bad. We live on this side of the tracks. Those rich people over there. And so even to the point of buying a car, she wasn't willing to buy a certain type of car, even though she wanted it. She's like, I really want this. But then she kept holding back, because that would symbolize to her, she's on the other side of the tracks. They're bad. So we went through, identified what I call her bug, a belief underground surfacing, her bug, and we blasted it. We got rid of it. And guess what happened? Not even 6 weeks later, she blasted through her limiting, that glass ceiling. And I love that one of my clients said, Hilary, my glass ceiling is now my floor. And she was able
Wow,
to
that's
do that.
great.
And this happens over and over and over again. So I want you all to be thinking, if you are hearing anything negative about anything you're doing, about anything, it is not, and I repeat, not your wise woman. It is not your intuition. It is your bug. And if you don't do anything, you will always come back to your preset level. You will always come back to your foundation unless you make changes. And it's the simplest way to access a higher level. And remember, what I talked to you about is that limiting beliefs stay at a low level energetically. Right. So if you're in shame or blame, low energy level, vibrational level is very low on the chart. We want to elevate you to a higher level where your goals are, where your dreams are. They're not at a low level. Like attracts like. I need to elevate you. So step one is challenge. What is the challenge in your life right now that you're going through? Business, what's a challenge that's kind of like, it keeps resonating for you?
So the challenge that I
Yeah.
have right now is I had just moved back from Mexico, and I'm back in my old hometown. And one of the things I'm thinking is this really where I wanted? Like, the reason why I came back in the first place was because it got lonely down in Mexico.
Mm.
I had a community, but I felt like I was there a little bit too early. So now I'm back, but now I'm thinking, oh, now I understand why I left in the first place. And
Mm.
so my intuitive hit was, you need to take and move to here. And so now I'm just sitting here thinking, okay, well, how do I make all that happen? How do I take aligned action for that? And so, yeah, so there's probably a challenge for you.
So I just got massive hit. So I had a near
Amazing.
I had a near-death experience when I was 2. Didn't really find out about it until my mom was about to pass, and she told me more about it. I'm like, "Okay, so I'm not crazy. I'm not, like, completely, like, out there." The fact that I really have this heightened level of intuition for my clients and for myself. Thank you, mom, for finally telling me this. So thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for sharing that. And to recap the challenge, and what you did so beautifully, Lynette, is you gained clarity. You literally spoke it out and then you kept going with it. Clarity is key for your challenge. And so everyone understands it can be for step one. It's very heady. It's a very head based 3HQ head, because you're like, I moved away. It didn't feel right there. I might have been ahead of the times. I came back thinking this was the place. And now I know why I left, and kind of like, where should I go next? Right. So it could be a positive challenge, or it can have this heaviness to it. It can be an intention just for the next 20 minutes. When I do this email or I put out something, I create something, I just need to be leveled up. I need to be in a higher state than I am right now. That's where 3HQ and tune in become powerful for you. So right now, because that has kind of a negative pull on you right now, you're trying to figure it out. It's a heavy decision to leave. I've already left once. Should I leave again? And so we go into step two. And step two is where you actually change the channel from the low vibration of the challenge of what should I do? So we want to elevate you, and we do that. And this now is very high as self, because we're energetically trying to get higher from where we are. And so what we do is we focus on changing the channel. That's step two, change the channel. And how we do that is we have a power song. And there is a song that when you hear it, it lights you up. You cannot be low vibrational level when you hear it. And what we're trying to do here, neuroscience says that you can hear it out loud or inside your mind, and it does the same thing. So what I want to know, Matt, is what is a song when you hear it, it just lights you up. It fires you up. What would that song be?
Well, I don't know if I have one song in particular, Hilary. Here's why, because I've always wished that I would have gone and become a DJ. And
Oh, love this about you.
I know, it's like crazy. Like, fun fact, So I make a lot of playlists on Spotify.
Yep.
And so what I do is I have certain playlists that I know are going to impact my mood or frequency.
Yeah.
So there's the one song I thought about was Tupac's song, but I mean, it's such a
But let's just go with
graphic,
it. But
it's
let's
such a
go with
graphic
that.
song.
But
Yeah.
let's go with it, because here's the thing.
Yeah. Like, it
You
makes
have
me
to,
just like,
you have to
yeah,
select one song, and this is going to be your song. You can change it later, but
yeah,
for right now, I want you to hear, what song is
yeah.
it? Do you know the name of it?
I can't think of it at
Okay,
this
but
exact
you know
moment.
it.
So, and just
You
say,
know
for
it.
everybody listening, I was not prepared for any of this, as
No,
you can
and this
tell.
is the greatest
And it's
part.
perfect.
But we
It's
all
perfect.
have
Yeah.
a song. Now, if
Yeah.
there's any negativity attached, oh, a boyfriend once broke up with me, but I still love the song. Nope, that's not your power song. A
Yeah.
power song is that literally it
No.
will elevate you.
Yeah.
So here's what I
Yeah.
need you to do. Matt. I need you to hear the song. I need you to move your body as you're hearing it. And again, 20 seconds is all it takes to elevate you and to actually change your state. So I need you to hear it and move your body. Move your
Okay.
body. I'm not saying
Okay.
enough moving.
Okay.
Hey, and everyone should be doing this. If you're not driving, just think of your own song, move your body. If you're watching us, you can see us both kind of getting into it. Okay, we've got another 10 seconds. Keep moving all the way to your feet. You're literally changing your state. All right. Okay.
Okay.
Now we're going to go into step 3. Step 3 is where you create a mini movie of your mind where you are already in your next location. And you're
Mhm.
so happy. You're sharing. You're on stage. You're the star. You're the producer, the director. You're looking out at the audience. And these people are looking at you like, yes, tell me how you did this, Lynette. How did you make the decision on which
Yeah.
city, on how you felt about this new home, about everything? And you're like, literally, it's just coming out of your mouth. You have all the answers. You're tuning back into your power song. And I want you to think about yourself as you're looking at these faces and you're wearing something. What color are you wearing?
Probably white with like a bit of a pink. Those are my
Okay.
kind of go-to
Okay. I
colors.
want you to see the white with a bit of the pink, and I want you to 10x it. It is so
Mhm.
vibrant. It's bright. You're on the stage wearing this. The color, everyone's looking at you. The white is like illuminating on their faces, and you're just sharing more of how you made all this happen. The challenge from step 1 is done. You've already gone through the process. And now we're going to go to step 4. And step 4 goes back to the head. It's called a micro pop. And I want you to hear your song again. I want you to like kind of like hear it, embrace it. What emotion were you feeling on the stage? What emotion?
Yeah, amazing. And just kind of to get to where I want to be, the speaker, and to get on the stage. And so it's interesting because I have that vision already in my
Okay,
mind.
what emotion do you have right now? Everything's already happened.
Yeah, no, it's good. It feels great. It's like finally, Lynette, you got out of your own way. And I think that's what I feel a lot of people, we just get in our own way.
Beautiful. Next that. Next
Mm.
the feeling. Feel it from your head to your toe as
Mm.
you hear the song. So when
It
you go
feels
in,
free. It
it's
feels
free. 10x this.
live.
My God, this is what I've been going for, and it's happened. And
Yeah.
so we go into step 4, the micro pop, where we then hear the song again and we're like, what is one small thing you could do right now to get you to the place where you are on that stage? You're at a higher
Mhm.
level, so you're able to ask better questions, get better answers. When we're done with our show right now,
Yeah.
what could you do? One small thing, Lynette, that would get you to that place on the stage.
Yeah.
One small thing. What would that be?
I want to reach out to some of these podcast conferences and pitch my keynote to them.
What I want you to be thinking about is what is that first small micro pop, these pops of inspiration that you could do right now? What would it be? The smallest thing around that. What would that look like to you? Would it be putting the names of the conferences, just putting 5 names of conferences, picking one conference?
Yeah.
What would that look like? Is it just sitting down with yourself and kind of sketching out an outline of what this all
Line.
would look like?
That is the next step because I know the 5 conferences I'm going to reach out to. And now the next
Super.
step is to do the outline.
Okay. But it doesn't have to be some fancy. It's just you,
No. Yeah.
again, tuning
Get my
in.
thoughts straight.
You're
Yeah,
literally
exactly.
going to go through this process again, take it all the way through, and then start writing. Because that's where you asked the greatest question earlier about intuition. This is where you're actually tapping into your wise woman saying, this, I'm now elevated at a higher level. What do I know? And watch what comes. Watch what
Mhm.
you creatively, because you're not blocking yourself, put on that paper. So here's the thing. What I want you to do when you have done that, and again, it could be like 1 minute. I want you to do some form of celebration. I call it a pop the champagne moment. It can
I
be
actually
like dancing. It could be like high fiving. What do you do? What is your like pop the champagne moment?
I think for me, it's I leave that moment and I go for a walk or, yeah, no, I do listen to a lot of music. So yeah, I think those are,
Super.
I do believe in celebrating the micro
And
wins,
that's the thing.
So yeah.
Now, what you're going to do, imagine you tuned in with your challenge again, changing the challenge with your power song, creating more of that mini movie in the mind, adding more emotions, adding more of the 5 senses to it. You're going really deep into how you're on stage. You said you want to do more stage time. Awesome. Keep doing it. And then you do another micro pop. Imagine you do 3 times today, and then you do next week, 3 a day. You're all of a sudden in 5 days getting 15 micro pops. Do you know what that does to something in your mind called the RAS, the reticular activating system? It supercharges it. It's that everyone knows it, but we don't leverage it. We don't tune into that. And the RAS is designed, don't hit the pole, don't hit the pole. What happens? You hit the pole. Oh my gosh, I want a red car. There's a red car. There it is. It's designed to give you what you are programming into it. So the more you do the tune in process, the more the RAS is going to start to work for you. The closer you're going to get, because new opportunities are going to come forward, new ways, new people, new results. And you're going to start to be like, what the heck did Hilary do? Like she put a spell on me. Yes, I'm literally leveraging what your mind has the capacity to do. That is the tune in process. That is
Yeah.
3HQ in its like easiest,
Yeah, that's
fastest
great.
way. And so you said, your question was, there's a woman out there, she's kind of feeling like she's in a relaunch. Again, what's the challenge? Start there. And then you can start to add. I'd go with 5 power songs, which could be, one is finance, revenue, one could be
Yeah.
marketing and lead generation, one could be like inspiration. What are your 5 categories that makes sense for you, and pick a song for each of the categories? And when you're about to go do that, I put on my calendar 2 to 3 minutes before I have my next meeting, I will end the call and I will tune in to what I now am doing on the next call, on the next training, on the next TV show, whatever it is. And I tune in to what now is important for my own energy, my own clarity around what my inspiration, my intuition, whatever I'm trying to get done, my challenge for the next event on my calendar. So imagine you
Yeah.
all, I just have like all given you your certificate. I'm signing it right now. There you go. You have it.
Hillary, you said something though that I want to go back to. You said when I was telling you about the challenge, and then the challenge, you said, okay, well, now think about her on the stage. How did you get into that moment? Because I never mentioned anything about that.
It's always the same. Step 3 is always the same. You're basically putting yourself, and
Okay.
for those that are like, but I hate being on stage,
Yeah.
it's okay, but you're still going through, hey, this is how I figured it out. This is how I was able to overcome that challenge. So it's always the
So
same
it's
step.
figuratively or literally.
You
And it
got
was
it.
literally, I took it literally
Yeah.
in my,
And
my
for
sense.
me, a lot of times that's like just, it feels right. And everyone can understand that you're on, and the stage could be different. You might have a gigantic stage and there's thousands and thousands of people. Somebody else, it might be a stage of 3, 5 people right there, but you're sharing how you did it. You're sharing that
Yeah.
you've overcome it.
Let's break the 3HQ method down a little bit. How can a woman tell where she is operating more from her head, her heart, or or higher self, or like, and why does it even matter, I guess?
Ooh, matters so much because we as women have a tendency to overthink everything. It's a thought process.
Yeah.
We have like not just one thought that comes in, but then it's like the bubbles, like boom, 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 these different thoughts. When you constantly are in thought mode and you're being pulled and you like are in a spiral, that is very head based. You're thinking of all the negativity. You're thinking about like, the what if scenarios. Oh my God, calamity Jane, very head based. There are in the heart emotional blocks as well. Right. So if you're constantly feeling like that feeling of fear, oh my God, fear of failure, fear of success, lack of freedom, whatever you're feeling gives you an indication, like, I just keep feeling this and it's not for your highest good. You're very heart based, but it's in the negative. It's in the emotional block stage. And bugs, as I explained, beliefs underground surfacing can be both head
Oh,
based
that's good.
and heart based. The heart ones
Yeah.
are the emotional blocks. All of a sudden, there is a situation that happens when you're young. And I'll give you a great example. I do work with men as well. And this just came up. He was in 3rd grade and he was standing in front of his class delivering a report. And his best friend was in the center of the front row and started laughing, started pointing to his fly, and it was down. The rest of the class started to burst out Everyone was laughing at him. He then gets up and runs to the boys' room. The
Right.
teacher and many students follow him in. It was emotionally scarring,
Yeah.
traumatic, and it caused him to have an emotional block around perfectionism. I will never be in that situation again. I will assess everything. And it's not just the zipper, it's everything. And we found this and we realized, oh my God, we've got to get rid of this bug because it literally is causing him to be in every area of his life. He was like a perfectionist. We got rid of the bug. And all of a sudden, it's like, we all know being perfect is exhausting. Being perfect never works. Being perfect means you don't get out what you need to get out to make the impact in the world because you're never ready. So we released this, we got rid of it, neuroscience based. It, on a scan, you could actually see it completely break apart. The bug completely evaporates, and it's all science based. And his life completely changed. Business
Wow.
skyrocketed, relationship with the wife, the kids completely changed. This is how
Yeah.
critical this is to, if
Yeah.
you're just even like, kind of like, wow, this kind of makes sense, but it's still like, there's a lot of wow, go back and re-listen to this
Yeah.
and really think about science based. We were never taught what's really going on within us. And all I'm saying is it's like a computer system, and we're going to reprogram it, and we're going to kind of like put in a new level of the operating system. And that's going to take you to that next level.
So, Hilary, you talked earlier about energy. Okay. And so when I think about the 4 steps you took me through and the audience through, and everybody's going to do that now, every day they'll do a little bit of the 3HQ 4-step process. So one question I always ask myself, and I talk a lot about it with my daughter, is we're creating this energy and this frequency and we're trying to stay up here. How can we stay in that state or protect that state when we go out into the world and not everybody's vibrating at that same energy?
Well, I think we've all gone into a room where it's just
Mhm.
heavy energy. We felt it. I like to say is that once you learn tune in, what you can do is you tune in at the moment. And you can do this whether you're in your office, whether you're out with people, whether you're at a celebration, a Thanksgiving, a Christmas, whatever event you're going to. You can be tuning in with the step 2, the power song. You do not have to hear it out loud. You can literally think it in your mind. And so at any moment, you can draw in that tune in magic, that energetic leveling up. It's like a muscle. And if you're going to go and do a 5K, 10K, half marathon, you're going to train. I'm asking you to start training yourself to notice where you are energetically. Where are you? Like, how do you feel right now? Remember when we were little girls and there was the mood ring and you'd
Yeah.
kind of
Oh,
look down at
yeah.
your mood ring, you're like, woo, I'm on fire. And then like, oh, wow, that says I'm really sad. Am I? I want you to think of this like you're looking at the mood ring, but you're just assessing yourself. You're like thinking like, how am I? We're humans. We're going to have the highs, the lows, the times where we feel angry and sad and depressed, and we're going to have it. That's who we are,
Yeah.
the joy. But what Tune In does is it helps you at any time bring your best self, even if it's only for 5 minutes or 15 minutes. And so I want you to just understand there was a study done with monkeys, and I'm talking about mirror neurons that are in our heads all throughout. And monkeys have the same. And the study was this: they put probes on both monkeys' heads, and one monkey had a peanut in a shell and the other one didn't. And the one monkey who had the shell broke it open and then put it in its mouth and ate it. But guess what happened to the other monkey? The other monkey had the same brain waves, the same thing that happened with the monkey who ate the nut. They were identical. Mirror
Mm.
neurons. We have that too. So have you ever noticed, like, if somebody's in a bad mood, you start to be in
Yeah.
a bad mood, or if
Everybody does that.
somebody is energetically really on fire, you're like, God, I just feel great when I'm around
Yeah.
you. That's mirror neurons in action. So you have the ability to control your energy. You
Mhm.
have the ability to change it. But guess what? It's up to you to decide. And if you want the success the outcomes, the goals that you're going for to happen, then you better be up leveling yourself, relaunch, rise, rising in to that next level, because you will not have what you are going for if you are at the lower level. You
Yeah,
won't, because
for
shame
sure.
and blame, guess what? Frequency wise, they're at 20, 30 vibrationally.
Yeah.
But joy and love, they're at like 500 plus. That's where we want to be operating. And people are like, oh my God, that sounds exhausting. Because I don't, and again, we're humans, we're going to be pulled back. But what Tune In does is it gives you a moment in time where you can be present, higher energetic level. Because if you're going to go on to a meeting, if you're going to go on to a negotiation and you're not at a higher level, you're wasting your time and you're wasting the other people's time. It's
Mhm.
just a waste. Cancel the meeting.
Yeah. So once the inner work starts, so how does whoever's listening and is starting to do that inner work, how does she keep going so that she doesn't slip back into the old habits? You talked a little bit of like, you're going to have your highs and lows, but what's one thing that she could kind of, you talk about a song, what could she do or remember from this podcast so she doesn't slip back into those old habits when things start to get tight?
So you have to practice. Again, I said it's 2 minutes. 2 minutes. You're going to the bathroom. You can tune in, right? You have to practice this. This will become part of, and I've done this thousands of times with people. This is my number one peak performance tool. No matter who I'm working with. I'm working with a celebrity, I'm going to have them tune in. If I'm working with, a person who's just starting out, it's a startup, boom, tune in. You have to master this, because the road is bumpy. The relaunches are going to come. And what I've done with this process is I have woven in neuroscience at every step, at every step. So the real question is, maybe you're putting it on your calendar. Maybe you're setting your timer to just once a day. Start out with once a day. Here's the thing. When you start to see the results, when you start to feel the results, when you start to feel like, I feel really good right now. Like,
Yeah.
I feel good. What's actually happening chemically in your body is it's literally giving you a daily dose of dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. These are what we have internally within us to elevate us, to increase our mood. And in every one of the steps, one of these hormones is released. So the more you do it, the better you will feel. So try it. DM me, reach out to me, Hilary DeCesare on Instagram, and let me know. Let me know. And for you, when you're done with your outline, I just want you to DM me and say, done. Because
Okay, I'm going to take you up
again,
on that.
then I celebrate you as well. This is the key, right?
Yeah.
We're women. We want to be in communion. We are, community. We want to be with, the people that are not just like-minded, but like energy.
Yeah.
And
Hilary,
that's what I do. I elevate energy.
one more question for you, and then I want you to just talk a little bit about, you've got some events coming up that I want you to share with the audience. So if there is a woman right now listening that is really going through a hard season and she needs to borrow a belief from you, from this podcast today, what is that one belief that you want her to borrow from you?
Anything is possible. And if you have seen somebody else have success, there is no difference between you and them. Anything is possible. It's how you are leveraging your mind that matters. So anything is possible. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. And
Yeah.
relaunch rise. I'm ready to relaunch rise. I'm ready to relaunch rise.
That's great. All right. Well, Hilary, I know you have some exciting things coming up. Why don't you share a little? I think you've got something in Phoenix that's coming up.
Yeah, Scottsdale. It's
Okay.
this September 18th, 19th, and 20th. So if you've enjoyed this almost hour of conversation, imagine a 3-day live event where we are changing at a cellular level your ability to have, and I call it relaunch to a rich life, rich in the sense of health, finances, wealth, as well as relationships. We're going to go all there. The women in the room are all high energy, right? Not just like minded, but like energy. And imagine what could happen at the end of having the ability to really be tuning in, hearing people that have the success of seven figures there in the room, the success of six figures, the success of like, how did you even start out trying to even get to that first 1,000 a month, then 10,000, then moving up the chain. And it's about surrounding yourself. And the principles that I'm really putting into Relaunch to a Rich Life in Scottsdale is around, first and foremost, connecting. I think that entrepreneurship is lonely, but it's also super lonely being a woman in her midlife and creating friendships that matter, friendships that support you as your business grows. And so we're going to have a ton of opportunity for connection, communication, conversations, and also collaboration. We just
Right.
had my last event in October. There was a woman that I'm a big like matchmaker. Actually, if you can believe
Okay,
this,
I love it.
a certified international matchmaker. I've chosen to not match men and women. Instead, I match women with other amazing women so that friendships develop, so that collaborations. And there was one, Debbie Allen, who I introduced last time, and it ended up being a 6-figure collaboration and friendship. So lots of wonderful, you should definitely check it out. You can go to relaunchtoarichlife.com and plan for huge advancements within yourself.
Yeah, no, it sounds amazing. Hilary, you have been amazing. Thank you for spontaneously taking me through my first 4 steps. I'm going to practice those as I move forward. So thank you for that. I think I got a little bit of clarity there too, even just on the fly there. So
I
thank
love
you
that.
thank you for sharing. You're wonderful. And maybe I will see you in Scottsdale.
I would love that. As soon as you sign up, you let me know, girl, because I've got
Okay.
you. And so
Okay.
super excited to see, if it's a calling and you really feel like, okay. And I have one person who said to me, Hilary, this is the only event this year I'm going to. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
This is the event. Thanks again for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
Hey, it's Lynette. Thanks for listening today. Please like and subscribe. And if there's somebody out there that you think could benefit from the episode, give it a share. Midlife is your time, so go get it.